Hi guys, happy Saturday. I'm so excited to share this with you today. I know a lot of you have been asking a lot of great questions about retirement and how to secure that. And so we're going to do this masterclass to learn how to protect your retirement from hidden retirement threats and ensure income for life. So my name is Brenda Dunville, and here's my phone number. Here's my email address. I encourage you to have a notebook and a pen. You will have questions, so jot them down as we go so you don't have to try to remember them. And so I do three main things. The first is infinite banking expert, or private family banking, you may have heard it as. We focus on the wealth creation aspect of life insurance and help people be able to grow their money tax-free with a cash value accumulation. The second thing that you see there is retirement upgrades. That's what we are going to talk about mostly today. The zero floor, zero fee, risk-free retirement upgrades, removing hidden threats from your retirement, removing unnecessary fees from your retirement, and ensuring that you guys can have income that is guaranteed for you for life with the products that we have, okay? I am an independent agent. I'm not a captive agent to one carrier. So we'll always be able to have that that meeting after and talk about what your needs are for you and your family and personalize that for you specifically. So I am with a firm called Duval Financial Group. They are fantastic. And so what are three things that set us apart from the typical money guys? Because we are not those money guys. Our top three priorities with our clients are one, the principal protection. Means anything that we recommend you is always going to grow your money. It will always go up and it will never go down, guaranteed. Two, we help people minimize the amount of taxes that they pay on the growth of their money legally. And three, we help people eliminate unnecessary maintenance or management fees completely. So I don't know if you guys like roller coasters. I love roller coasters, but with the emotional roller coaster of watching the market with my money, I do not like that. The recent roller coaster ride of the market these past few years has been stressful, especially for people who are close to retirement. So if you knew a way that your money could go up with the market, but never go down with the market, have zero management fees, and you could protect your future and get peace of mind, would you want to know about that? So think of people that you talk to as well. You can always share, I'm recording this, so you can always share the replay with them as well. I know you guys on here live definitely want to know about this, and this is what we will be talking about more today. So the key topics today, we're going to educate yourself on hidden retirement threats, learn a way to protect your retirement, and you can use this like a self-pension as well, the products that we will be sharing today. Learn how you will never have to outlive your retirement. Learn how to get peace of mind that will pay you for life. I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this, but the people that you see, welcoming people at Walmart, for example, sitting in front of the store. I used to think, oh, there must have been, retired and just got lonely or got bored. No, they have outlived their retirement money and they had to go back to work, whether it's 70, 80, 90. And so to me, I love the fact that we can help people never have to worry about that again. So who's this for? It's for you, somebody who works hard for their money, wants to create more efficiency with it, and strategically grow it without risk and zero loss. What is your personal plan? So think about what you have, or if you don't have anything, what you want to have so that we can structure it for you. Maybe old 401ks that are just sitting there. So many people have that happening around. 403Bs, if maybe you're a teacher or someone like that. Roth IRAs, mutual funds. There are or a multiple, mixture of them, you can roll them into something that will be protected completely and remove what you're going to learn about today with those threats. So for you guys that have been on my social media, last week I shared a link and it was straight from the government site, Social Security site. And I want to just hit on this for a minute. And I'm not a doom and gloomer, but this is just facts. I'm never going to share my opinion on this. I'm always going to share straight facts, straight math, and just show you what it is that we can do. So as a result, this is straight from their website, the Social Security government website. As a result of changes to Social Security enacts in 1983, benefits are now expected to be payable in full on a timely basis until 2037, when the trust fund reserves are project to become exhausted. So hopefully they find a solution. Hopefully they find something to replace this. I am not willing to put my future on a hope. I would like to know an exact amount of, years that I have. I like to know an exact amount of what I can do to guarantee that I will have a very prosperous retirement. So that is what we can do for you here as well. Like I said, we can structure something like this as a self-pension. And you may have some old 401ks floating around. Most people do. So if so, let's put them to work for you. And you'll see right here. Okay, so this is last year. There's $1.65 trillion of old 401ks just sitting out there. So if you need to know how to find them, if you think you have them and you can't remember, there are websites that you can go to. So privately message me. I can get to the one that I used. But that is a lot of money just sitting out there that I would like to help people be able to put back in their pocket, put into a product that can grow their money and can protect their money from any fees. We're going to talk about hidden retirement threats now. And my friend and my mentor, he was #1 in the firm when I got started. He did a video with a training that's phenomenal, all math, one of the smartest men I know. So I'm going to play this video for you. So get your notebooks out, get your pens ready, because you are going to see very real numbers in real time.
Hey guys, welcome and thank you so much for checking out this hidden retirement threat soon. My name is Jesse Reynolds and we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So somebody shared this with you because they have discovered these 3 hidden retirement threats and they're probably pretty excited about knowing about them, having solutions for them, might even be a little upset that they've been dealing with them for so long. So I want to start by just sharing a quick story. Some of you guys might remember this movie from the late 90s, Titanic. Obviously, everybody knows the story of the Titanic, but there's so many little hidden nuggets in that story that aren't always emphasized. I'm not talking about the love story with Jack and Rose and all that stuff. What I'm talking about is there were, everybody knows that the Titanic hit an iceberg, it sank, people died. But there were other threats that were in place well before, even before the Titanic launched, even before it set sail. There were issues that were already there, or threats that were already known about by some, but hidden from the general population, and that's what led to this catastrophic devastation. Right there was issues with how they had to rivet it because of the shape of the hull, and they believed that when the Titanic had hit the iceberg, if it had the correct rivets in it, it wouldn't have taken on water as much, and it actually would have been able to stay afloat and get all the way to shore still. Then there was the issue with the lifeboats and not having enough lifeboats. There were warnings about the path they were going on, that there were iceberg sightings all throughout the sea, but they just kept saying, "Oh, that can't happen to us. Where the Titanic is unsinkable." Now we know what happened was hundreds of people died, and it was a horrible tragedy that happened at sea. But it all could have been avoided. This is the question, though. Knowing what you know now, right, 100 years later, if you were at that port about to hop on board of the Titanic and you knew the end of the story, what would you do? Right? There's no way you would get on that boat. And that wouldn't make any sense to anybody. But the reality is that is what the masses are doing right now when it comes to most traditional retirement accounts. There are several threats that the majority of retirement accounts are exposed to that are able to be seen if you know what to look for, if you understand what these are. But the masses just are oblivious to them, and they're just all hopping on board that Titanic. And again, now it's not just a few days at sea. It's for some people, it's 30 or 40 years before they reach that retirement age following the traditional retirement accounts path. And then they're all of a sudden surprised, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this happened. But have you noticed how more and more people are having to work later and later into life, or even going into retirement and have to go back to work and get more jobs? It's because primarily of these three hidden retirement threats. I'm going to go ahead and get right into them, show you what they are, help you identify them, and also share with you. Just know that if you get a little upset, like some people tend to do, when they learn about these, if you realize, hey, you've got some or all of these threats in your retirement accounts, just know that there's also options you can do that are proven strategies to help remove these. So let's go ahead into the first one. It's called average rates of return. So what is the average rates of return threat? It's simply this: average rates of return are never valid if there are ever losses. Okay, that's really important. You have to understand that. And almost everybody has their retirement accounts in some way tied to the market, which can be a great thing over time, but there are regularly losses that are incurred. I'm recording this in 2022. I think the market was down like 30% first 9 months of the year, 10 months of the year, right? And so there could be some significant losses that are experienced. So let me prove it to you with math though. Let's say you start with $100, and after 1 year you lost 50%. How much do you have? You have $50. Very good. Now this is where the math part comes. So now let's say in year 2, if you grow that $50 by 50%, how much money do you have? Okay. If you said $100, don't feel bad. That's what most people say. That this isn't to try and trick you. This is just the math of it. The reality is you actually only have $75. 50% of $50 is 25. So you lost 50% first year. You gained 50% the second year. Your average rate of return was only 0%, but your actual rate of return was a $25 loss. And that is because losses are weighted more heavily than profits. You have to understand that. So again, the average direction of the market is up over a long period of time. Absolutely. That's not the issue. The issue is if you are working with a money guy who's saying, hey, you're going to average this much percent per year and do this and that, and they're looking at average rates of return when they've left your accounts exposed to losses, the numbers and charts and figures and projections they're giving you are invalid. Look at this chart right here. So the market between the years 2000 and 2020, it averaged 6.11%, the S&P 500 here. So again, great growth, right? And you'll see if you had started with $100,000, that by the year 2020, it had grown to $255,000. Praise God, that's an awesome growth there. But now let's look at what an actual rate of return would have been of 6.11%. On that right-hand side, you see that same $100,000. Now, instead of down 10, down 13, down 23, up 26, but like we saw in the actual market, it's the power of 0. If we have the same average rates of return, but we just remove those losses, you'll see it actually would have been $347,000 that your $100,000 would have returned. That means that those few years of losses, even though both the actual returns in the market and this hypothetical 6.11% with no losses, they were the same rates of return. You wound up losing $92,000. You only started with $100,000. That's 92% of what you had initially invested got wiped out by those few years of losses with that. That is incredibly significant and something that needs to be accounted for in retirement planning. Another thing that's important to understand about the power of losses, especially if maybe you're closer to retirement age right now. Everybody checking this video out at different stages in their retirement planning. So check out between the years 2000 and 2013. Did you notice that it's not just that there were some losses? Again, losses happened, but we already addressed that over the long term, the market went up on average 6.11%. But what if you had entered the market in 2000 with that $100,000? Do you notice how it took 13 years before your money got back above $100,000? So what if you're entering the market right now? What if we're in a 3, 4, 5 year downturn right now? Are you willing to ride it out for another 10 or 15 or more years just to get back to where you are today? That is a huge risk, a huge threat that a lot of people are not aware of. And so you'll see that $100,000 in 2012 is still only back up to $97,000. It's an incredibly long period of time to be working and striving to make no progress with your account growth. So the second threat, this is maybe my biggest pet peeve of all these, and that's management fees. You have to understand that when you're dealing with money guys, the goal for them, their business model is built around money under management. And they may say nice things, and they might be nice people, okay? They might be good people, but you have to understand incentives in human behavior. And the reality is they're getting paid usually between a 1 to 2.5%, sometimes more, management fee on how much money they can get you to put under management. And there's no accountability for results. Usually it's just, hey, it's only a small fee. Don't worry about it. We're going to look at the math in a second of how much is that only small fee actually adding up to over time. And it winds up being a huge difference in terms of cost for you. And you have to remember this too. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. They might be really well-intended people, but when they only get paid on money under management, oftentimes any advice they're going to give you is just money under management. Again, I'm recording this in 2022. I have talked to so many clients where they're old money guys just said, "Hey, just ride it out, and they're losing 10,000, 20,000. I have one client. He lost, I think it was $63,000 in 5 months in his retirement accounts because I showed him this math, and he just kind of hoped it wasn't that bad, and it just wanted to kind of trust this money guy. And he just got to a point where he's like, I'm sick and tired of it. But that's how much he lost. And you know what? Even though he lost 62 grand in 5 months, his money guy still got paid that entire time because it's all about money under management with no accountability for results. So let's say, how much would a 1.5% fee cost you over time? So on the left-hand side, we have that same chart, S&P 500. You put $100,000 in, 20 years later, 21 years later, you have 255,000. Now we take those same returns, and all we do is we add in a 1.5% management fee. You'll see now that you don't have 255,000. Now you have 187,000. That means that it's only 1.5% cost you $68,000. What if it was a 2% fee, 2.5%, as many people wind up paying? You'll see how those can add up very significantly over time. So this is what is maybe going to be mind-blowing for some of you. And it's, what does it actually take, or what did it actually take between the years 2000 and 2020 to beat the S&P 500 returns, okay, with no management fees and no losses? It actually only took 3.1%. That's not sexy, I realize that. You'll see 3.1%, that power of zero, never having a loss, and then also not wasting any money on management fees. You'll see that $100,000 actually grew to $189,000 in that same time period. So you came at $2,000 ahead. Now, but another important thing also is between those years 2000 and 2013, when you were just trying to get back to zero, right? Because there happened to be some losses in those early years. And again, nobody knows the timing of when these market cycles will happen. But so not only did you, after 20 years, wind up coming out ahead, but in the early years, you were way ahead if there happened to be losses there. And so again, it's not sexy. It's not something that you're going to see flashing on TV. It's not something that the financial entertainers out there get paid to talk about. But you need to understand that point of reference of, man, if you understand these different threats and you can consistently do over 3.1% with no management fees, with no negative returns ever, wouldn't that be a better path to take? Right? And slow and steady wins the race. It's kind of like the tortoise and the hare. With the hare is just going start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. Here, that consistency builds momentum, and you have uninterrupted compounding that winds up happening there for you. Okay, now this third one, the closer you are to retirement, or maybe even some of you might be in retirement, but you have your accounts exposed to these threats, know that there are options out there. There are things that you can do about this. But this third one could be the most devastating depending on how close you are to retirement. So let's say instead you got to retirement, okay? And it's the year 2000 again, but you'll notice now not $100,000, but we put $1 million in there. Great job. You saved up $1 million, you've invested, and you've done well. You want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And you say to yourself, you know what? the market average is 6.11% per year. And we're going to be responsible, and we're just going to withdraw 7% per year of that $1 million, which is $70,000 per year. So we already addressed that losses are never good. We all know that, okay? But there's a certain type of losses that are extra bad, that are absolutely unacceptable, that you cannot afford at any time, and that is losses in the early years of distribution. So you'll notice, again, it just happened to be in 2000 to 2002, there were 3 consecutive losing years. There's about a 40% loss across those 3 years. When you compound losses on top of distributions, it accelerates the depletion of your funds at a rate so fast that you cannot recover from it. So you'll notice here, again, in the year 2000, had $1 million, you only withdrew 70 grand a year, but because there were some losses early on, you'll notice by the year 2011, just 11 years in, you're out of money. That is pretty significant there. You notice that negative 38 grand. And now, what if you retired at 65 and you've done all the right things and you followed the money guys and you knew the market rates of return? And this isn't even assuming management fees. I'm being generous in this and assuming you don't have management fees. And now you're 76 and you got to go back to work. I don't think anybody wants to wind up in that situation. But so we already know losses are never good, but some losses are worse than others. And you don't want to run out of that money in 11 years here. This is the question for you is, whether you're going to retire 3 years from now or 25 years from now, what is the market going to do when you go to retire? Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows exactly what the market's going to do. And so my question for you is, are you willing to leave your retirement exposed to this threat with a complete unknown? It's a coin toss. Again, but hopefully it's easy for you, but do you want to base those golden years of retirement when you're traveling with your wife and you're doing the things with your grandkids, you're hunting all over the world or whatever you might be into? Do you want to leave that exposed to? Well, I hope the market's on an upswing, right? That's not acceptable. I want to prove the point to you here is all we do now is we take this $1 million, the same $70,000 a year, same average rate of return of 6.11%. But we run the order in reverse. Okay, you see there the returns from 2000 to 2020. On the right side, we have from 2020 to 2000. So all we did is it's the same averages. We just moved some of those losses a little bit to show you the power of this. You'll 21 years in, you have $640,000 still in your retirement instead of running out after just 11 years. That is a huge difference between those 2 comparisons right there. Same rates of return, same systematic withdrawal of funds every single year like that. You cannot afford those losses in your early years of retirement. I hope I've made that point as clear as I can for you. So again, there's 3 threats: average rates of return, management fees, and sequence of returns threat are the 3 threats. Now the question is probably, once you've seen this, the first part is I encourage you to ask yourself, are your current retirement accounts exposed to any or all of these threats? I've never met with a client who knew all 3 of these. I've definitely met with some clients who knew about 1 or 2 of them, but I've yet to ever meet with a client who knew about all 3 of these threats here. And so what can you do? There are several things you can do, but 2 options I would strongly encourage you to explore is, 1 is to check out infinite banking or private family banking. When you explore infinite banking, not only do you get uninterrupted tax-free growth, and you own that cash value, where you have no exposure to losses, but there's a lot of control and liquidity and access to your funds. Again, especially if you're younger, unlike a traditional 401k IRA where there's penalties for using your money before 59 and a half, there can be some really significant advantages to checking out infinite banking, private family banking. Another one is exploring something called a 0-4 IRA, and it technically doesn't have to be housed inside of an IRA, but the idea is that there are products that you can invest in for retirement accounts, whether just through a regular non-qualified plan or through an actual IRA plan, but they can be insured and guaranteed to never ever lose money. So they have a 0% floor. And when the market goes up, they still see growth because your money's not tied in the market. Next against the market, still see great growth with it, and you can lock in that gains insurance. And again, what's really, really key here is you never pay management fees, at least not in the right ones that I would suggest. I'm sure there's some that may be charged that, but there are plenty of ones out there where you can completely remove management fees, recapture all of that money, recapture that opportunity cost of what you're not gaining on that money you're losing and wasting on fees, and ensuring guarantee that you're never ever going to see losses. You're just going to see growth with it. And so if you want to know about either of those, reach out to whoever invited you to check out these videos, and be sure to take action. Right, again, just back to that Titanic story. If you're standing on the dock and somebody told you, hey, there's issues with the rivets, hey, they're going to be going through an iceberg build, hey, they don't have enough lifeboats on board, you want to get on that Titanic. If you saw your friend or loved one, if you saw your cousin, if you saw your best friend, you wouldn't let them get on that Titanic either. You probably have people in your life who want to enjoy a great retirement that they need to see this video and understand what these threats are as well, right? And so just reach out to myself or whoever had shared this video with you, and we can schedule a free wealth strategy session. We can help you. We can help answer more questions for you, and we can help you understand what some of those other options are that can completely remove these threats, so you can have that incredible retirement that you're working so hard for and planning for right now, so you can actually realize that and get to enjoy that. God bless you.
Okay, so good. I hope that you guys took notes. And if you want to review that again, I am recording this. So like I said at the beginning, I can get you a replay for after. I know a lot of you guys might have a spouse that you want to share this with as well. So just reach out and I can get that to you. But what's next? Let's get off the roller coaster, that emotional roller coaster of watching the market and worrying about fees. And you most likely will have questions. So if you'd like to see options of how to protect your retirement from the market volatility with the zero floor, zero fee, risk-free retirement upgrade, look into growing a self-pension plan, possibly. If you don't already have a 401k or an IRA, we can talk about that option as well. The next step would be to schedule a private and totally confidential appointment with me so that we can go over any options that could best suit you personally for your wants, for your needs, and for your personal financial assets. So again, snap a picture of this, screenshot, write down. My phone number is 360-632-0078. I'm also on Facebook, Brenda Renee, and my email is right there. So you've got lots of different ways that you can contact me personally. And also next Saturday, so for you guys that did hear about, oh, infinite banking, I am interested in that as well. I've heard about the private family banking. I'd like to know more about that. Next Saturday, same time, same place, I will be going over that for us so that we can learn about how to have tax-free wealth creation with the infinite banking advantage. So you can join us there as well. And you guys, it's all about planning strategically, saving, being the right product with the right carrier, with the right agent. And I'm so excited to help you guys structure this and get ready for retirement, get set, and be able to retire with ease and so much fun in your future. So with that, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. And again, I do have the replay. If you need it, just reach out, and God bless you. Enjoy your Saturday. Thank you. I honor you guys for taking the time out today to raise your financial IQ and be aware of these threats. All right, I'll talk with you soon. God bless you.